stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Hey squids, I wanted to show you my current state of my garage. It is quite a mess. I have tools everywhere because, one of the issues I have, I don't have a place to really work. I don't have like tables. I need to set up some tables over there, but I wanted to show you the status of my bikes. And it's kind of funny. The two bikes that you see before you, I don't have the FJR anymore. I don't have the NC700 anymore. Yep, I sold those. And the two bikes here are the Honda Shadow and the Ninja 250, which both I got them for free, which is incredible. Thanks to Nathan on the Ninja 250 and Johnny on the Honda Shadow. Just incredible that I managed to get them for free. That never happens. But of course, the Ninja 250, that was a carburetor issue, and man, the bike runs fantastic. The only thing I need right now are tires. The current tires on it are, they're pretty old, so the front tire is pretty decent, but because of the age of the tire, it just is not worth riding on it. So, and of course, because the MVA is closed, I can't really ride it legally. But the bike starts right up. I haven't cranked it or anything, so I usually just give it a little bit of gas. Oh, or I guess I have to give it a choke. There we go. That's the problem with carburetors and the Ninja 250 is that you need to give it like choke and you have to give it time. I couldn't ride this right now because it's too cold out. I'd have to let it warm up for a couple of minutes, and it is kind of cold outside. I think it's like 40 something degrees, so this bike really runs well. But you see, like when I give it gas, it wants to die, but that's normal because these are carbureted bikes. One thing about this bike, when you work on the carbs, is that you have to remove a lot of plastic, and it makes me really admire this bike because it's a lot more difficult to work on the carbs on this one than the Honda Shadow. So you have to remove the plastic here, you have to remove the tank, you have to remove the seat, you have to remove the two sides, you have to remove the underside plastic just so you can slide the airbox back, and then you can pull out the carburetors. Very time consuming, and that's the thing with these bikes, you can get good deals. See, it's still kind of cold. So with these bikes you can get great deals because people, once the carbs get gunked up, people don't want to work on them. So keep your eye out for this type of bike, because if you clean the carbs and you're okay putting in a lot of time to clean them, you can have a really fantastic bike. And like I told you guys, I used to have an '08 Ninja, and that's how I met Nathan on the Ninja 250 forum, and we went riding, and this was his first bike. Right now he's got like two Triumphs. I think it's a Triumph 675 and a Street Triple. Really fantastic bikes, but he definitely enjoyed this time on this one. Now, this one, on the other hand, this is the reason all of this is all over. Such a big mess. This bike starts, and one of the issues I'm having is that you can't get parts for this thing. You can get parts, but it's so difficult. So one of the issues is the relay here. I should have it plugged in, but I took it out because I have the fuel pump, a new fuel pump. Of course, there are no 1985 Honda Shadow fuel pumps available that are brand new. You have to get used stuff, and you don't know if those fuel pumps are working. So what I have is a Holley fuel pump that I got at Advanced Auto Parts. And that actually works. And I had to remove all of this. Removing this is so much easier. 2 bolts here, 1 bolt there. This pops out after you remove the fuel line. There's the fuel line. By the way, brand new fuel line. And it looks a little bit wet there, so I might have to tighten it up. Actually, yeah, that's something I haven't noticed. See, that's issues with the bikes. I renewed all the fuel hoses on it. The carburetors on this just stick out right there between the 2 cylinders. This is a V-twin. Hey, Sophie. This is a V-twin, so the carbs stick out here. So there's 2 carbs, and so much easier to remove than the other ones. But I renewed the hoses that go up, and then I have my fuel pump directly connected to the relay, or it bypasses the relay. And check this out, you have a fuel petcock, and you turn it up when you want to start it. And now it's not leaking. Before it was leaking. I cleaned the carbs twice on this. I removed this gas tank over and over and over to get this bike to just run. When I first got it, if you look at my old videos, it would not crank. It would not do anything. And the reason was this right here. So the reason it wouldn't crank or even start was that there was a fuse here. Very odd design by Honda to have the main fuse here, right? And then you have more fuses here under this cover. There's a cover here. And then they put even more fuses here. The ignition fuse is here. Really strange design. And I don't like that at all because I like to have all the fuses in one spot. But I guess this makes the wiring less complex. And I do admire the simplicity of this bike. There are little quirks that I don't like. For example, the fuel hoses here. Okay, why are those fuel hoses such a bad design? When I have to remove these, and I've been removing it so much to get this thing to work, and normally you don't have to, but these hoses, when I pull out the gas tank, just spill everywhere because there's no way of closing it. I guess you could pinch it, but as soon as you remove it, the gas just starts to flow out to the little one. And this big one, when you slide the gas tank up, because you have to slide it under this bracket, it just spills everywhere because you have to turn it almost vertically, absolutely vertically to get it out. It would make a lot more sense by Honda to putting 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there, and then you can remove this bracket as you are, working on your motorcycle. This would make a whole lot more sense than welding this on here. And I think I would probably do that in the future. Just cut it and making some sort of bracket here with 2 bolts and 2 bolts there. Because this design is terrible. I just cannot stand that. But that's just a small quirk. This is a 700cc bike from 1985. And look at this, shaft drive. And this kind of gave me the idea of getting something like this, because they make a Honda 500 with a shaft drive, and turning that into a nice dual sport. You don't need a lot to have a successful dual sport, but for me, having a small shaft-driven bike makes a lot of sense. This bike is weird. I mean, I've never really had a cruiser. By the way, I had to make 2 keys, and this was actually the more expensive part of the bike so far. So that's $85 for these 2 keys. I had to remove the ignition, take it to a keysmith. So let's start this hog. And of course it's cold. Let's see. See, the pump is working. So yeah, it wants to start. There we go. I have to give it gas. Same thing with these carbs, man. Carbs are just so much more work. It just takes a little bit more time to get these things. That's the carb or the choke right there. But the bike starts. It starts and runs. I even have one turn signal. Sounds much more different than the I'm gonna turn off the choke. This bike actually idles really well, and it's already like almost warmed up. It's a lot less cold-blooded than the Ninja 250. Look at that. The engine actually sounds almost like it's new. It's got that Honda whine sound. The valves don't seem to be out of spec. The engine seems like it's in great shape. And of course I have not ridden the bike yet because, well, you know, I have it temporarily with that fuse hooked up to the fuel pump, but also my brake lines. So I did put this dime on here and it fits really well. It's a good way of just shutting everything off. It's not leaking out of the sight glass anymore. So when I got it, the sight glass was broken. But I'm having an issue with the brake lines. I can't get the fluid to come out of the bleed valve. And I think I might have some sort of clog here in the line. So I'm going to have to pull out the lines and see if I can figure it out. But, you know, I could always get new brake lines. I'm probably going to keep these. They're not leaking, so they seem to be in good shape. There's a lot of rust here. I'll probably just try and get that all out. But, you know, 2 free bikes, man. That's the cool thing about this. So the Ninja 250 is rideable. This one is almost rideable. And that's pretty much the status of my garage, guys. And pretty soon I'll be riding the Shadow a little bit, and you will see some vlogs from me riding a cruiser, which I have never done because it's really not the type of style that I usually go for, but it's cool. Like, it is kind of neat having a bike from 1985. It feels a little bit different. It feels a lot more, I guess, basic. And when you look at like new bikes, you know, the FJR, for example, that was a complex bike if you had to work on it. Of course, a lot of those new modern bikes don't need a lot, but something simple like this is quite interesting. And the thing is, the Ninja 250 is just as simple. It just got a bunch of plastic. A bunch of plastic that looks modern. But this thing, I like the basic maintenance of it. It's so easy to work on. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.